Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be giving you guys a complete market update. It's been about 2 weeks since I last made a market update on the entire bigger picture, and so I wanted to go over that real quick as a refresher and then talk about the short-term movements and what I'm seeing right now. So um, in the bigger picture, at this point in time, there's a lot of possible scenarios, and I'm going to explain why right now I'm more focused on the short term. In the long term, um, sub 4K is what I'm still looking for. That I called months ago. It's also possible we end up somewhere between 4 to 5,000. Although, and what I'm going to explain right now is going to explain why I think sub 4K is more likely. But let's focus on what's going on right now because that's what we're trading at the moment. We're making some shorter term trades. So just to give you guys an overview in the larger grand scheme of things, what I have here, a few different possibilities here, but I'm just going to go over them real quick. So the first one is going to be something like this initial big drop was a strong ABC, which made up our W wave. We have an X wave, which is like a connector wave that retraced about 38% of this initial W wave. And then we're currently working on the Y wave. Sorry, the X wave is actually going to be a flat here in this case. So our X wave was going to be an ABC flat. Um, the B came down to 90% of A, which is common. C went up to 68% of B, which is not as common. It's a lot more rare, but it's allowed. So we have this ABC flat correction here with a truncated C, and then we're now working on our Y wave, and our Y wave is going to be another ABC. It's going to be another three-wave structure, at least. So this would likely be the first wave. We'd get a little bounce here, and then we get our last wave down to bring us to that sub 4K or 4 to 5K level. So that's one of the counts that we have. Another one of the counts that we have is going to be something like an A, or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This actually now would be our A wave. Oops, this would be our, let's see here. Okay, sorry, this would be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A wave, and then we have this flat as a B, and then this would be our C wave. So in this case, we would just have one straight impulse here instead of an A, B, C. We just have the last C wave here, and that would be the end of this A, B, C. And let me just show you guys this to make it a little bit more easy to understand what I'm talking about here. So yeah, A would be a five-wave impulse, B would be a three-wave structure, and then the C would be another five-wave impulse. So that would be a second possibility. And then there's a couple other possibilities as well. So we could have, let's see if I can remember them. Yeah, so we could have something like this. We're going back to the WXY. W, this would be our X wave, and this would be our Y wave here completing. And the way that would work is the W would be, again, an ABC. So we have an A, B, C. Let's show that wave so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Our X wave would be actually this little three-wave structure here. So this would be our X wave. And then our Y wave would be another ABC like this. This would be the A, the B, and then the C. So that's another possibility. So the point I'm trying to make here is there's many possibilities that we could be seeing here in terms of the bigger picture. And on top of this, just being a WXY like I just talked about earlier, we could also continue up and make another X wave here and then get another Z wave to go even lower. So in the grand scheme of things, there's a long ways to go. But now we're going to focus on the shorter term, and I'm going to explain what I'm seeing here. So in all the scenarios that I just went over in the larger picture, this particular wave here is going to be a five-wave structure. So since we know that this is going to be a five-wave structure, we don't necessarily know what's going to come after. It could be any of those scenarios. It could be the end where we bounce. I highly doubt that. It could be the situation where we had a W, X, Y. We'll get another X and then another Z. It could be the situation where we had a WX, and then this is the first wave of three of the Y wave, so we'll get 1, 2, 3. So there's many situations, but the point that I'm trying to make here is each of these situations has us currently in a five-wave move down. So based on that, we're now going to go into the shorter time frames and try to analyze this five-wave move down. I have a couple of bearish counts. I have a bullish count as well, and we're going to go over those and see if we can make sense of what's going on here. So if we zoom in here, the original bearish count that I had, this is the bear count 1. This was my primary bear count for a while. However, based on the action here, I'm starting to become a little bit doubtful about it. In this particular bear scenario, in this particular bearish scenario, we had an absolute low of 5.2K that we could go to. We could not go lower than this 5.2K level, and this is where things get a little tricky here. So the way that I was counting this initially, let's go to the 4 hourly chart, is with an extended first. We had an extended first wave here. We had our second wave. This would be our third wave, our fourth wave, and then this would have to be the fifth wave. So the fifth wave would initially, I was expecting this first wave down, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. But as you can see, our first wave down completed, and our second wave down was I'll explain this a little bit later, but it was an ABC that almost went past the start of the first wave, which would invalidate it, but it stopped short of it, so it's still valid. The only issue with this is that this wave 2 took an extremely long amount of time to complete. It made a very, very deep retrace of wave 1, which is allowed, but it's not something we see super often. The most common is going to be a 50 to 61% retrace. And because we know we can't go below 5.2 here, it leaves us very little room to complete our third, fourth, and our fifth waves. So this becomes a little bit tricky. The first wave, the only way that I would tend to see this complete, because the second wave retraced so deep, is to make it some sort of an ending diagonal. But at the same time, that we would expect our third wave to be shorter than our first, because there's not much room to go down here, and we still need to add a fifth wave. So we'd expect the first wave to be extended so that the third wave is shorter, but with the first wave extended, we wouldn't expect such a deep retrace. So these are some conflicting things that are going on here and making it a little bit difficult to see this, panning out as a full 5 waves here and ending between 5.2. I just don't see it happening very easily. In order for that to happen, if we take some fib measurements here, let's take some fib measurements and see what we get of this initial impulse wave down here. So that's going to be right there, and let's project it from the top of the wave 2. So what we're seeing here is that for this, even if we get the third wave extending to 161.8, it invalidates the entire structure. So again, very tricky. The only way that this wave 1 would, or this wave 3 would not extend to that 161.8 would mean it's not extended. And if the wave 3 isn't extended, we'd expect the wave 5 to extend, but even that would push it over. So we'd have to assume that the wave 1 was extended, and we get a shorter 3 and an even shorter 5. But like I said, with an extended wave, we don't normally see deep retracements like we saw here. So that's why this count is now looking a little bit less probable than what I initially thought it was. There's another count that I'm going to show you guys right now, and I have my own problems with this other count. But because of the issues we're seeing here, I have to seriously consider this alternate count now. So this is the alternate bearish count, and this has us in another expanded first wave, just like the last count did. First wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. We have an ABC here for the second wave. Now this is the part that I have an issue with, but like I just showed you in the last count, that count also has its issues, so we have to consider this. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I'm not the first one to come up with this count. I've seen it posted many times on Twitter, and like I said, I have my own problems with it, which is why I didn't take it too seriously until we saw this giant wave 2 retrace, which in this case would be a wave 4. But the reason why I had a problem with this particular count is because we have this small wave 1 here, we have a deep wave 2, and then we have a really extended wave 3, which is fine, but then we get our wave 4, and then we get a second extended wave 5. So this would be a double extension, which in Elliott wave is very rare to occur. I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see what I'm talking about with this double extension. So we take the fib retracement, or we take the fib extension of wave 1, project it from the top of wave 2, and we see that our third wave went all the way to 361.8% almost. Oh, it did perfectly, actually. It ended up on the dot as a 361.8 extension perfectly. So that's fine. We're okay with seeing that large extension as a wave 3. The issue here is that after we get our wave 4 retracement, which, let's just take a look at this here. On the wave 3, the wave 4 retraced right about 38%, which is common for a retracement after an extended wave. But after we get that retracement there, we would expect our wave 5 to equal approximately the length of our wave 1, or if not that, then 161% extension of wave 1, because it's not common to see double extended waves, and if we go more than 161%, we have a double extended wave. And as we can see here, the fifth wave then went and extended to 261% of our wave one, which means that we not only have an extended third, but we also have an extended fifth here. And that was my issue with this count from the beginning. It's not common to see double extended waves in Elliott wave theory. It's not impossible. That's the reason there's a name for it, but it's just not common. So I had that issue and I said, hey, okay, because of that double extended wave, this structure here, this five-wave structure is likely going to be the third, fourth, and then the fifth would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But again, now that we have this giant 2, that other count also comes into question. So those are the two the two bearish counts that I'm seeing now. Both of them have their problems. Not the ideal bearish counts I would have liked to have seen, but that's all I can come up with right now. Now, in this case, in the second count, we know in our first count we can't go below 5.2. In this second count, we do still have an extended first. Our third wave is shorter than our first wave, and that allows us to make bounds for our final fifth wave. So if we take the length of this third wave here, the vertical length of the third wave, and we project it from the end of the fourth wave, and I'll explain to you later why I believe this is the end of the fourth wave and why we're not going to see any higher. But if we project it from the end of the fourth wave down, we can see that our fifth wave can't go lower than this level here, which is about $4.8 thousand. So if the second wave is correct, then the lowest we can go is 4.8. If the first wave count, bearish wave count, is correct, the lowest you can go is 5.2. But the point is that 4.8 here is the absolute lowest, I think, for this next leg down. Now let's go to the even shorter term, and we're going to analyze this section right here so I can explain to you guys why I believe this particular fourth or second wave, depending on which scenario we're looking at, is complete, and why I believe we're now headed down rather than up. So this is going to be a zooming in of the short term waves that we've been seeing over the last week or so that I've been analyzing. Like I told you guys, I was taking short positions in the 6.6 to 6.7 thousand range. I did tweet out that my estimate for this last high would be 6,750. We went to 6,795, off by $50. But the important thing was I was expecting us to not cross the 6850 level. If we cross the 6850 level, I said that the bullish scenario in the short term is more likely. And just to show you guys really quickly what the bullish scenario had us in was a 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave ending here, and we have now started a bullish wave up. So that's what the bullish scenario was, and it became more likely if we crossed this 6850 level, but we didn't. And now I'm going to show you guys the short-term wave count here, which is what makes me believe that we're now headed down, and that one of the two bearish counts that I talked about a couple of minutes ago is in play. So if we look at the bullish count possibility, if we're going to make this a bullish count somehow, it has to be some sort of a leading diagonal. And the reason for that is because it all stems from this particular section right here. We have a clear through wave up. We don't have a 5-wave impulse, which means that the only way that this can be some sort of a bullish count is a leading diagonal, because a leading diagonal is allowed to have a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 subwave count. That being said, if we look at our subwave counts here, we have a 3-wave and we have a second 3-wave. We can make this our third 3-wave, and in my last video I explained why I don't see this particular structure as a 3-wave on its own, so you guys can watch that if you want more clarity on that. But I'm just going to go over this real quick. 3 waves, 3 waves, 3 waves. So this would be our, let's go here and show you guys. This would be our first wave, our second wave, 1, 2, 3, our third wave. We could call this a 1, 2, 3 as a fourth wave, and then we'd expect 3 waves here to get our fifth wave. But instead, what we saw was some sort of an impulsive wave, and then we started coming down. So we didn't actually get our 3 waves here yet. So because we didn't get our 3 waves here yet, and we didn't break 6850, what I see as more likely, rather than this 3, 3, 3, 3, not 3, is this count, which is going to be an ABC, which makes up our A wave, an ABC makes up our B wave, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this entire structure will be a flat count. So a flat count is a 3, 3, 5 structure, ABC, ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're headed down again. So that makes a lot more sense than the 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 that I explained earlier, because this last section here doesn't make a clear 3 waves. Instead, it makes 1 and then it heads down. Yet this particular count, it fits perfectly. We have a 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The third wave is shorter than the first, which makes our fifth wave shorter than our third. It all fits. And now we're headed down. We broke out of this wedge. We broke down and out of it. Again, makes sense. So this is why I believe that this whole structure was a flat correction. From earlier, I explained to you I have two bearish counts, one ending at 5.2, one ending at 4.8. And in this case, this would be a flat correction in the second wave for the first count. It would be a flat correction as the fourth wave for the second count, for the second bearish count. And I just explained to you why I don't see this being a bullish count. So I do believe we're headed lower in the short term. Now, let's analyze this wave down here to decide what we could be seeing in the shorter terms, even shorter terms. So I'm seeing this particular count. We have a 1, 2, 3 waves here, 1, 2, 3 waves here, 1, 2, 3 waves here, 3 waves here, and then we have a truncated fifth wave to complete our first wave down, which is going to be a leading diagonal formation with a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, again, like we talked about. Now, in diagonal formations, we know that the fifth wave doesn't necessarily need to touch the bottom of the formation. It could overthrow or underthrow, which means it could either stop short or it could plow right through and then go up. So either of those is allowed for a diagonal triangle, and that's what we're seeing here. And so it looks like our first A wave is complete. We're now starting a B wave up, which is a retracement, and then we'll head down for a C wave. That would be the bullish scenario. If somehow my count here, if somehow I miss something, and if this somehow still is a bullish scenario, then we're allowed to have an ABC here, at which point we'll head upwards again. And this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the bullish scenario, or an ABC in the bullish scenario. Now, I just talked about why I don't see this as a bullish scenario, but I'm saying, hey, maybe I was wrong, maybe I missed something. In that case, we'd expect an A, B, and a C before we head up again. So, assuming though that that's not going to happen and we are really in a bear case, this would be not an A of an ABC, but it would be a 1 of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After which we may get a larger wave 2. This could make up a complete wave 1. We get a larger wave 2, and then a 3, a 4, and a 5 to bring us down to that 5.2 level or to that 4.8 level at the lowest. So that's what we're looking at here. And this is why about 16 hours ago I made a Twitter post, which I'll show you guys here in a second. I'm going to make the Twitter post pop up here. But I posted this Twitter post saying that I'm expecting a dip down into the 6,350 to 6,450 levels, at which point I'll take partial profits on my shorts from 6.6 to 6.7, and then I'm going to reload those shorts on the bounce, which we're seeing here, between 6.5 to 6.7K. And the reason I said that was because regardless of whether or not we're in a bullish or bearish scenario, like I explained in my last video, we're going to see either an ABC down, followed by next up wave, or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the point I was making is we're going to see a dip, we're going to see a little bounce, and then at least one more wave down, if not another retracement and then another wave down. So I close some shorts here. I'll be reopening them here for the next wave down. And then based on what we see here, I'm either going to hold on to all those shorts for a lot lower for those final targets of 4.8 to 5.2K as an absolute low, or I'll be closing them off in the bullish case. But like I said, primary count here is bearish. I've explained why I don't see the bullish count in the short term. And I explained my two bearish scenarios that I'm seeing here in the slightly longer term. Either way, we're expecting this last leg down to complete our larger 5-wave move down, after which point in the larger scenarios in the grand scheme of things, we'd be expecting some sort of a bounce. Earlier I was calling a larger bounce before 5.2K because of that initial bearish scenario I just explained to you guys about in the beginning. But like I said, our second bearish scenario allows us to go to 4.8K. So I'm revising my initial target. Rather than saying I'm expecting a larger bounce before 5.2K, I will now say I'm expecting a larger bounce before 4.8K. And the larger bounce will take us up maybe a couple of $1,000, and then we'll be headed back down again, in my opinion. But I'll make another video on that once we start the bounce, because there's a lot of variables there as well. So we're just going to take this one step at a time. And we're going to go from here. Like I said, right now I'm shorting. I'm not looking for longs. I know that there's going to be some bounces in between these shorts, but I'm not going to worry about that. To me, we're still in a downtrend, so I'm not going to bother with long positions or scalping long. I do work a full-time job. I have my own business, so I can't focus on scalping at the moment. I'm going to focus on swing trading, and that's the type of information I put out to you guys. So I'm focusing on the bigger moves right now. Shorting. I've explained why I think we've hit the top and end of our fourth wave, and why we're headed down. Still holding a good chunk of my shorts from 6.7. Did take partial profits at 6.4. Plan on reloading those shorts on this bounce up, and ultimately getting to that 4.8 to 5.2 level at the absolute lowest. As we move down from here, and as we start making our impulsive move move down. I'll be making more updates for you guys. I'll also be updating you on the official invalidation of the bullish scenario, which will happen either with a dip below this last low of 5,775. That'll officially confirm the bullish scenario. So you guys know where my thoughts are. Now you know why I'm still 100% bearish. Earlier in the last couple of videos or last couple of days, we had that bullish and bearish option, and we've now officially narrowed down to a bearish option, 1 or 2. So that's all I have for you guys today. I was trying to make this video last night, but I was super exhausted, had some family stuff to do, and so I'm making it for you guys now. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you learned a lot from this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with your friends. All right, thanks, guys.